23-20 over the Buffalo Bills. Jason Bristol, Luis Ortiz. Luis, what's your one big takeaway from what you saw today at NRG?
I would say that the Texans seem to find a way,
Yeah.
right? It's not pretty. It's probably not the way that you would want to win a game, right? But they do seem to find a way, no matter what the circumstances are.
Now, when we do these post-game feeds here on KHO 11 Plus, Facebook, and YouTube, we're going to be taking your one word to describe this game. We'll get to that in a moment. Currently, we're waiting for D'Amico Ryans and some of the players to hit the podium at NRG Stadium again after this 23-20 win. This was really a game of two halves.
Yeah.
The Texans looked so good in that first half.
Yeah.
The Texans helping Texans. And then in the second half, Luis, they reverted back to the Texans helping the other team, something that D'Amico Ryans has talked about so much. Penalties, missed tackles, execution. It was not good. And in many ways, I think the Texans are fortunate to come away with another win, much like they were last week.
Yeah, I got to agree with that. Fortunate. I think, like I said, they keep finding a way to win, but I have a fear of that sooner or later that's not going to be the case, right? Sooner or later you're going to run into a team like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens who are going to capitalize on your mistakes. First half, 0 penalties. That was very impressive. But then in the second half, they end the game with 7 penalties total, 6 of them in the third quarter alone. Yeah, you can't shoot yourself in the foot like that, and then that just made it really, really difficult for the Texans offense to get going. They started the second half with a field goal, a punt, an interception, and then a fumble. That's not a winning formula.
No, it's not.
By far.
No, but give credit to the defense. Anytime you can hold a team to 20 points or less, that's a good day in the NFL. You look at some of the statistics. Josh Allen, 9 of 30 for 131 yards. He averaged 4.4 yards per completion, 1 touchdown. His quarterback rating was 56, and he, of course, was through the 1 touchdown, which was mostly the receiver, and 0 INTs. C.J. Stroud, 28 of 38, 331, a touchdown and a pick. Cam Akers, 9 carries, 42 yards. Daria Agumbawale averaged just 2 yards per carry, but the running game has been an issue without Joe Mixon. But today, at least they gave you something. And I think it did loosen things up a bit at times. For
sure, and that's definitely something that they need to improve on as the season progresses. But, yeah, we got to give them credit that they are finding a way. I keep going back to that same phrase. They keep finding a way. So credit to Bobby Slowick, for being able to find different ways to get the offense going. When you lose, you're already without Joe Mixon. Then you lose Nico Collins, your leader receiver. Anything that happens to any team, they're all going to have trouble getting the offense going. It could be Patrick Mahomes. It could be, any quarterback that you want to mention. It's going to be hard to score points when you don't have 2 of your main primary weapons.
How about Nico Collins, though? Two catches, 78 yards, that 67-yard touchdown bomb. Obviously, losing him is massive, but I think the Texans in some ways were obviously long game here, You don't want to rush him out in week 5 to get something out of him, and you don't want to put him at risk of further injury. I'm sure they will be asked about what the status of Nico is, but at this point he clearly was out with that hamstring injury, and I'm sure that we'll get the standard. Don't know right now. We'll have to see how he progresses throughout the week. But again, waiting here for head coach D'Amico Ryans to approach the podium after this 23-20 win. Stephon Diggs had a good game. Yeah. I know he downplayed, obviously, throughout the week what this meant to him, but certainly a win, first and foremost, is important to him. He had some key catches. He was 6 catches for 82 yards and had a long of 18. I think what's most important, though, for him is the win.
For sure.
The win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. To go back to Nico Collins thing, for sure, D'Amico Ryans is going to say, hey, right now we don't know much. Like you said, the standard answer there that we typically get in these situations. However, those hamstring injuries are very tricky. Look at Dameon Pierce.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to play now for a few weeks, and it's a hamstring injury. So I think depending on how serious it is, we could maybe assume that Nico Collins might be out 2 games. It depends, maybe a little bit more, but that's going to be a big loss. Now that's going to open up the game for Stephon Diggs to get more plays.
Tank Dell.
Tank Dell. Hutchinson,
who filled in pretty well. When you look at Hutchinson's numbers, he had 2 catches, 31 yards, but one of them was for 19. So he's not Nico Collins, but you gotta find ways. And of course, that's what the Texans were thinking the beginning of the year, leading up to this season. Let's add weapons. Let's add weapons. Let's add weapons. How would you characterize C.J. Stroud's day today?
I think it was great. I think he continues
great.
to be.
You think great?
C.J. Stroud, 1 interception. I get it, but
lost the fumble.
He did, but I mean, look, he continues to make plays, especially when they need them. He had in the fourth quarter, right in the final stretch, a Josh Allen-esque scramble. I believe it was 18 yards, and he gets the first down. He continues to make plays, whether it's a scramble, him running the ball, or passing it, and it gets the first down when the Texans need it most. I would give him a great performance today, although, like you said, he did have a fumble, he did have an interception, but I mean, what did he finish with? If you look
it was 28 of 38 for 331.
Over 300 yards.
And the run was 13 yards, but that was impressive that you were in the teens. So, but I don't know if I would say great. I think he was very good, good to very good. I think he would probably tell you that as well. I'm sure he's kicking himself about the turnovers, but what you said, certainly the thing that he does best is he puts his team in a position to win. That's what he does, and that's why the Texans are winning. 4-1 now, 3-0 at home with the New England Patriots on the way. Jason Bristol, Luis Ortiz, again, we're waiting. DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of the Texans. Always interesting to see how much of a voice DeMeco has. How much of a voice do you think DeMeco has after this one?
I think he'll be okay.
You think he'll be okay? All right.
Look, at first half, he didn't really have to scream too much because they had a clean game. It was more the second half when they commit those 7 penalties, right? So then that's when maybe he starts to get a little bit of a hoarse voice.
Yeah. All right, let's read some of the comments here. Dave checking in says, awesome 59-yard field goal by Kaimi Fairbairn. Yes, that's a good way to describe it. Sheila says, my heart is too old for that kind of win. Sorry, I get upset when I see the game slipping away. I'm just that passionate of a fan. Sheila, now this is 2 weeks in a row that games have gone right down to the wire. Dave says, praying for Nico Collins not being injured seriously. And I just lost the comments here. But let's see if I can get them back. There we go. Glad they pulled him.
Well, I want to say something real quick. You were throwing out some numbers earlier. Kaimi Fairbairn this season, and got to give credit to Cole Thompson, who's one of the Texans beat writers. He's one of a colleague of ours in the industry. Kaimi Fairbairn this season, 9 for 10 on field goal attempts. He's 8 for 9 on field goal attempts, over 50 yards, and a game winner today. He's calling him so far easily the Texans MVP so far.
I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. And that just shows you how much the game has changed. Back in the day, like 50-yarders were almost unheard of. And I'm dating myself. But way back in the day, the days of Mark Mosley's and Rolf Benerschke's and things like that. But now they're commonplace. And it will be interesting to see if the NFL does anything. I know we're kind of, or at least I'm going off on a tangent here. Maybe they'll try, the rules committee, the competition committee will try and do something to make field goals tougher. But certainly the Texans, very happy. 59-yard field goal to win it. Also, Renee says, fix the field and helmets. I guess that means that you weren't crazy about them. What did you think of the H helmets and the uniforms today?
I like it. I think when we got to get a sneak peek of it earlier this year, I liked them. I think I like the red, all red, the candy red uniform a lot more. But I like it. The Oiler blue, if you will, that H-Town blue.
H-Town blue.
Right?
We don't want the Titans to hear that.
It's not bad. I like it.
I'm not a fan of same colored pants and tops.
Yeah.
White is okay in some cases. I think a contrasting pant looks better, but that's just the old school guy in me. Let's see. Dave says Kaimi Fairbairn has been cool as ice, makes 50-yarders look so easy. Yes, that goes back to that point. I have to look this up, and I may when D'Amico comes to the podium, I'll be fascinated to see the last time Josh Allen had fewer than 10 completions in a game. I mean, he poses so many issues. And the Texans have faced a lot of dual threat, quote unquote, dual threat quarterbacks this year, with the exception of Sam Darnold. Pretty much everybody they've faced, at least the starters, have that ability to run and throw. Mm-hmm. And to hold a guy to 9 of 30 for 131, and I know you only sacked him once, but going into this game, I thought third down obviously was going to be a point of emphasis as far as the Texans. The Texans are much better this year on third downs than they were last year. I think that's no surprise given the weapons they've had. And also the Bills are much worse on third down this year than they were in years past, especially last year. Looking at the stats here, did you pull them?
Okay. To add to your third down comment, today, 8 for 16 on third down.
That's 50%.
That's 50%.
That's
a great number.
That's going to win you a lot of games.
Yeah.
And then look at the Bills, 3 of 14.
Yeah.
3 of 14, 8 of 16, and I hadn't even looked at these until just now. Yards per play, Texans are 6.3, the Bills 4.7. 9 of 30 again for Josh Allen. That just sticks out when you look at the stats. Texans 1 of 2 in the red zone, 1 of 3 for the Bills. Penalties, so the Texans ended up with 7 penalties for 65 yards. You mentioned the 6 in the third quarter. Uh-huh. Man, that first half you're thinking, wow, like this is pretty clean. And you looked at the score, and I think what we saw in that first half, that is what the Texans can be. And I think that's also the frustration level with some fans here, aside from the win, is that you know how good they can be when they execute. And then they reverted back to this group of guys that are, would sloppy be a good term?
There was an illegal touch penalty. There was a false start. There was unnecessary roughness. Just penalties that really, really just push you back on the field. You move backwards, and it makes the game harder for yourself. Because when you mentioned that first half performance, they need 4 quarters. But yeah, D'Amico Ryans is at the podium now.
Another wild moment. I'm good. I'm doing better. Trying to settle down a little bit. I'll fire away.
Coach, your defense held Josh Allen to 9 of 30. You really did a good job of taking away those quick passing lanes. What was the key to limiting such a dynamic quarterback, and how did the game plan come together to execute that this week?
Yeah, limiting Josh, man, he's a great player. It was a tough out for us, but it took a valiant effort from everybody. It was a collective effort. D-line, we knew we weren't going to get many sacks against him because he's so elusive in the pocket. We just had to keep rushing, keep the pressure on him. So they did a great job of keeping the pressure on him, and our back-end guys, the way they covered, that was the reason why. We played tight coverage, made the plays we needed to make. It was that collective effort of rush and coverage being tied together.
Another game where you guys win it basically at the end. What allows you guys to consistently, since you've been here, even dating back to last year, consistently be able to pull out these close games?
Today, it was just really cool to see our guys make the plays we needed to make in situational football. We stepped up and made the plays at that particular time there at the end of half, being able to get points, just coming out in the game, the way we ended it just as a football team. Tommy getting a big punt for us, pinning them there at the 2, defense standing up, making 3 big stops, and then Rob with his return to get us at midfield. CJ the dart. It was just everybody working together, and that was a big goal for us this week, is just to help the team. How can you help the team win the game? And our guys were clutch in the critical moments.
Coach, for some of the Texans fans that may not be familiar with Aziz's play history prior to arriving here, many of us would say that was his best game as a Texan. Just what he meant to your effort overall defensively today.
Aziz meant everything to what we did today, because Aziz was. People don't know he was sick last night, didn't know if he was even going to play. So for him, to be as tired as he was, for him to gut it out and play every snap, it was an outstanding performance by him. And I know what he was battling. I know how hard it was for him to push through and play through that game. And I got so much respect for Aziz and what he accomplished today.
Hey, D'Amico, can you talk about what it means to have Kaimi and just to know, you always want to score a touchdown, I guess, but to know you have him and all you got to do is get it somewhere close. What kind of confidence that gives the team?
Hey, congratulations to Amy. I mean, when you have a guy that can kick it the way he does, he's our all-time leading kicker here in Texans franchise history, and no bigger play than the 59-yard walk-off. Like, it's just comforting to know when you have a guy who can hit it at that critical moment, like it's clutch time. And he stood up. He didn't waver. Like, man, put it through the upright. So it's comforting for everyone to know that wherever we are, Emi can make a play. And when you're in that situation right there, not a lot of time left, we know we got to get down quickly, and we know we're kicking it. Wherever we end up, we got to take a shot at it. And so I felt really good about the return, wanted to get some more yards, and Emi, the way he nailed it, I mean, it takes more than him. It was weeks. Tommy with the hold, weeks with the snap, our protection up front, just everybody working together. It's exciting.
Coach, can you put your finger on third quarter? Because you like halftime, y'all walk into halftime, y'all pretty well had your hand on in control, and all of a sudden it's third quarter, because that's the quarter where you committed all you really 90% of your penalties and everything. Y'all were clean up until that third quarter, and it's almost like it got away from you.
The third quarter was definitely our sloppiest moment in this game. Felt really good in the first half, like no penalties. We played clean, no sacks. Like, man, we were humming there in the first half, and then come back out. Third quarter, I think I know we took a step in that third quarter, our offense being able to go down, and we were able to get points there. That was a step forward for us. We got better. But just the penalties, right? Again, like we had a costly penalty there, hitting the quarterback to give them, better field position. And that was third quarter wasn't who we are, but I really, really love the way our guys stepped up in the fourth. Like, and that's what the league is. Games are going to be tight. That's what it means. You come within one score almost every week. It's about how you close it out and having a chance there at the end, and we made the plays we needed to make.
Coach, I don't want you to sound like a broken record, but we got another ugly win. You said there's no such thing.
Ugly win? Come on, Sarge.
You said there's no such thing as an ugly win. Last year, some of these type of games got away from you all. You all are finding ways to win these games. What does it say about your unit, especially some of the things you all have to overcome as far as injuries and things like that are concerned coming into games?
These are the type of games you find out who you are as a team. Like, Buffalo is an outstanding team, well-coached team, much respect for them, all their players, the way they play, like nothing but respect for them, tough opponent. So to beat a team like this, like at the end of the day, you want to score more points than the other team, man. It doesn't matter how you get it done. So I'm proud of our guys for gutting it out. And like I said, again, like it wasn't all pretty. That's how games go. It's about how you finish at the end, and I'm proud of the way our guys finished.
D'Amico, a two-part question. First off, Chris Boyd seems to be getting better and better every week. What is he doing to get better? And you mentioned downing that last punt at the 2-yard line, which he downed it. How big a play was that?
That play was huge, getting the punt down there. I think D. Ross and Boyd were there making that play. Chris he's continued to play his technique. That's the one thing he had to focus on, just play cleaner for us and play his technique. And when you just play your technique and you do what you're supposed to do, be where you're supposed to be, you'll make plays for us.
Coach, the rookies, Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter, they had some good moments today, also had some rookie moments. What's some of the lessons that they can take from today's game to keep progressing as young NFL players?
Hey, Kamari and Kalen have been playing outstanding for us. I really love both of those guys and what they're doing as young players. They don't flinch. No matter what happens, they don't flinch. They keep battling. They play the game the right way, and I love having both of those guys back there.
Quick two-part question, just kind of like an update on Nico, and what does it mean to, because you've mentioned before, when you play your old team, you want to get that win. What can you say about, you guys being able to get the win for Diggs going against his former team?
Yeah, we were really happy for Diggs. We know how important this win was for him. We know how important this week was for him. Anytime you're going against your old team, like a lot of guys knew we had to get this one for Diggs. Try not to make a big deal out of it throughout the entire week, but we know it, right? It's emotional, like all the great things that he did there, right, to as a receiver, as a player, like he stood out, man, and he made a lot of plays. He helped that team in some critical moments and down the playoff run. So, man, no bigger game for him than this one. And today, for us, man, he made some really big catches on third down to keep drives moving. Like play after play, Diggs stepped up and made plays. So I'm happy for him that we were able to get this win for him. And then the update there on Nico. Nico on the long passing touchdown. He felt his hammy grab, so he has a hammy. We'll evaluate him day to day.
We'll take these last two in the
Nico, what, if anything, do you say to CJ after kind of the way the game ended for him? Do you have any conversation with him about kind of how those 3 series went?
What I say to CJ is I'm proud of you. Like, so proud of him because it's easy to see the negative plays, right? It's easy to see the turnovers, and everybody knows nobody hurts more when that ball is turned over than CJ. He feels really bad about it, but man, you keep punching, you keep battling, and that's why I'm so proud of him. Like in those moments, a lot of guys can tuck their head and feel sorry, but when we needed a play there at the end to get a few more yards, CJ stepped up. Our play wasn't there, so he improvised and found Darray just to get us a few more yards so Emi can kick the field goal. So I'm so proud of CJ and just his growth throughout this entire year.
Speaking of Darray, can you talk about what he meant? I mean, I know you want to get Joe back, but he has stepped in and done whatever you asked him to do and made some key plays today when you guys were with Cam too, but talk about Darray.
Yeah, every week, Darray makes a play for us. You know, last week, the big one on third down, and today, just him, the way he ran the football, the big catch again to get yards for us. Darray, he's special. He's such a special player, and he's that utility guy. Like, whatever you need him to do, hopefully we don't need him to kick anytime soon, but whatever you need him to do, he's there. I think we gotta just keep pressing with Darray. I like the way he ran the ball. Like, he was reliable. He's consistent. And that's what sticks out. Like when you got as many guys as on our team as possible who can be as reliable as Darray is, that's the makings of a really good team. All right, thank you guys. All right, thank you.
Well, there is D'Amico Ryans from NRG, Jason Bristol, Luis Ortiz. A lot to digest there. He basically said this week it was all about what can you do to help the team. Also mentioned about, yes, this was a big game for Stefon Diggs, a big game for Stefon Diggs, and they really wanted to get him the win. We also learned that Nico Collins was injured on his long touchdown run, and there are no ugly wins in the NFL.
That's what D'Amico has to say, right? But I think you obviously want to win in a more convincing way, right? You have to. And as the season progresses, the whole point is for you to get better, for the chemistry to keep growing. You know, they mentioned a few times now throughout these first 5 weeks that, hey, it's the beginning of the season, so you're still kind of getting used to, you're barely starting to find out who you are. And that's one of the lines that D'Amico said earlier. A win like this today over a team like the Buffalo Bills, this is the type of win where you find out what kind of team you are.
Yeah, I really felt this was a measuring stick type of game. And when you look at the status that the Bills have in this conference, certainly I don't know if they're as good as they've been in the past, but right now let's go back to NRG. Kaimi Fairbairn is at the podium, certainly want to know all about his game-winning field goal, 23-20, the final.
Field goal, and just know how much confidence your team has in you.
Yeah, I feel a sense of calmness when I'm out there, when I'm walking out, and I think that's just from preparation. And then when it comes off my foot, it's not up to me anymore. I did all I could, and had a nice little cut on that one that went through. I'm thankful, and then it's just celebration. Enjoy it with my teammates.
Finally today, you became the franchise's all-time leading scorer with that 47-yard kick. Just for your overall thoughts, being with this organization for as long, seeing the way this team has gone through the rebuilding stages and now where it's at now, culmination of where your emotions kind of are.
It's a special one. I don't take it lightly. One guy I definitely have to shout out is John Weeks. He's been with me every step of the way, every single snap. So he's just a part of that. I am very thankful for him, and then all my teammates. A stat like that doesn't happen without everybody involved. Offense, defense, special teams, and everybody coming together and getting those points. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy. It's incredible. I'm honored to be here for this long, and I'm hoping to score a lot more.
Thank you. D'Amico said after the game they have a lot of confidence in you when you're taking 59, 60-yarders. Can you talk about your confidence in the situations and how much of a process it is working, I guess, up to field goals of that distance?
Yeah, I think kickers, or I only can speak for myself, but I love the opportunities like that, especially when it's coming down to it and you just, it's going to happen. Whatever yardage it is, I really don't care. I want that shot. And I think that's part of being good at this job is wanting that opportunity. And, I look forward to them.
Kyrie, when you're thinking about the sequencing, Robert Woods has to start this thing off right to even put you guys on pace to get where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Walk us through the dynamic where you're thinking that far ahead, or do they leave you isolated? You're going through whatever, whether it's 58, 59, 49. What did you know? What was the plan? I guess what I'm asking about the approach from Woods or whoever's fielding the kick.
Yeah, so it's honestly, I kind of just read the game as it is, as it flows. And, the last minute of the game is insane if you really look back at it. We get that penalty, and then we move back, then we punt. Tommy has a great punt, pins him down. And then we go 3 and out, get the ball. And then at that point, I'm just like, okay, we have 16 seconds. We maybe need 5 yards or something like that. We get the 5, and then just let it rip. It was wild. When we punted that ball, and we got that first stop after their first, I think it was he was incomplete or something like that. I went back to my net because I was like, I'm just gonna stay locked in just in case because this game's crazy, So. I stayed locked in, and what happened.
Okay, obviously the last time the Bills were in this stadium, they had a similar result with the walk-off overtime kick. Did any memories of that come up, in whether it was the celebration or the lead-up or anything to it?
No, not. I wasn't thinking about that. I was in my moment. Just a calm presence is what I was thinking, and that was a wild game too. We enjoy playing the Bills, I guess, in here. So,
Jaime, you brought up John Weeks and the impact that he's had on your career. Just his overall demeanor and the conversation that you have. How does he keep you mentally prepared for these type of moments, and also common situations when the team is trusting you to go out there and make the big time play?
Yeah, he's just been a really good friend, first of all, and then he's just Mr. Reliable. Every day he's here working. It's a thankless job, but he's been doing it a long time, and he's very good at it. So, I'm grateful for him. Cool.
Kaimi Fairbairn from the podium after nailing his 59-yarder to win the game, his second game-winning field goal of his career against the Buffalo Bills, the other coming in the wild card game at NRG back in January of 2020. That was the 2019 season. Lots of love as well for John Weeks.
Yeah.
The longest tenured Texan. But again, everything in football, it's about execution, not one guy. Certainly Kaimi boots the field goal, but you need the right hold, you need the right snap, and as a result, when all those things come together, you have a 23-20 win over the Buffalo Bills.
And that's his 8th career game-winning field goal in the fourth quarter.
All right. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. Checking some more comments as we're waiting. CJ Stroud at the podium. Dakota says, all red is fire, the uniform, which you
Yes.
like. Bruce says, Sam Darnold with question marks. Where I was going with that, again, was that the Texans, for most of this season, with the exception of Sam Darnold, they've been playing dual-threat quarterbacks, guys who are known for their running and passing ability with Josh Allen, Caleb Williams, Anthony Richardson, and Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, he can, a little bit. Yeah. they've played more dual threat guys, and now Josh Allen. So, anyways, that's where I was going with that. Thella says, good game. Brian is very happy about the win. Mike down to the last minute, just got to do better, but still like it. Ann and Gary, awesome game. Lee says, great game. And I think all of that is true. So right now, did you want to mention something about that, or?
Right. I just think one of the things that Kaimi Fairbairn mentioned, he says, we got the ball back with 16 seconds left to try to win this game. And that really stood out to me because as I'm watching the game, I'm doing a game log. I'm writing down, certain plays, touchdowns, big plays, and even some miscellaneous, let's call them miscellaneous plays.
Nuggets,
right?
little notes.
Right. And yes, 16 seconds, that's not a lot of time. I know in the NFL you can stop and slow down the clock. You have that 3 timeouts and everything, but to be able to get the ball with 16 seconds and do what they did in order to get into field goal range and then win it with 2 seconds left on the clock, it's impressive. They found a way. They didn't let the moment overcome them. And, it speaks of what this Texans team can do, because you said it, the way they played in the first half, they just need consistency. They need to be able to play what they showed today in the first half for 4 quarters.
And D'Amico Ryans was mentioning what he said to C.J. Stroud, and I think you mentioned that time.
Yeah.
If C.J. Stroud doesn't help pick up a few yards at the end, we may not be here right now talking about a game-winning 59-yarder. So what D'Amico was stressing was, yes, the turnovers, not fun, we don't enjoy them, but he really wanted to stress to CJ was the way you improvised, made something out of nothing. That little sequence right there is a big reason why the scoreboard reads the way it does.
Yeah, and also, earlier you were talking about the defense and how they held Josh Allen to 9 completions. They didn't have a lot of sacks, right? Was it 0?
One.
Okay,
Yep.
1 sack. Really, when it comes to forcing turnovers, 0 turnovers from the defense, no takeaways today, right?
Yep.
And I believe that's the second consecutive week. I think last week they didn't have a takeaway either. I may be wrong, but here's the thing. Small things that happen, small plays that don't come up in the box score.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter, Derek Stingley had a big defensive play. There was 13 minutes and 43 seconds on the clock. Bills had momentum. They were coming off scoring 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Derek Stingley has that big play, and then they force a punt. Then how about later? CJ gets going, completes a few passes, but then CJ throws an interception, and he fumbles after getting sacked. Texans follow up that fumble with big defense to force a field goal. And then later in the game, again, Texans, they force a 3-and-out. When CJ gets called for that intentional grounding, they punt, they force a 3-and-out, then they get good position with that punt. And that is what leads to this game-winning drive. Small plays.
Yeah, and not all pressure ends up in the box score.
Right.
There are a lot of times where a quarterback has to step up, has to rush his throw. Those things don't show up in the box score necessarily. So I think they got just enough pressure to make Josh Allen uncomfortable. And I think when you look at overall the way things ended up, I think that proves it. Also, you brought up the 9 completions. We looked it up. That last year he had a game with under 10 completions. However, that was a game in which the Bills had blown out the Dallas Cowboys. And now let's go back to the NRG with C.J. Stroud, a big smile on his face after the win.
C.J., can you talk about what was different in the second half? You guys were near perfect in the first half. Did they make any adjustments, or what was the difference in the third quarter for the offense?
Yeah, first of all, I just want to give all glory and praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Just a great opportunity, to play against a really, really, really tough Buffalo Bills team. But yeah, the first half, went really well. We're moving the ball like we wanted, running the ball. In the second half, man, we weren't not moving the ball. We were just shooting ourselves in the foot again, just taking penalties. I missed a couple reads on my throws, and, had the turnover, the 2 turnovers. So, when you play like that, you give them opportunity to come back. And they made some adjustments, started taking away a lot of our passing. But at the same time, they weren't taking away everything. I got to be better and just get through my progressions. But all in all, you learn with a dub, and, that's the most important thing about it.
You and Diggs have become really tight. Clearly you guys are like a brotherhood bond. What did it mean to get the win for him in a game like this?
It was huge, man. I know he was, he really didn't say nothing all week, but I know today he was a little emotional, just we wanted to, just play well against him, being his former team, which, everybody, just like we played JG last year, a couple weeks ago. So, it's a lot of, emotions that go through that, but he did a good job by just not letting his emotions affect his play, and really I thought he played really great, was really sound, and I thought he played amazing. So definitely just happy that, he's happy with his dub.
CJ, not only were you able to see Kaimi come off with a 59-yard field goal, but today he also became the all-time franchise leader in points scored. Just his impact to this team, and is there a certain trust factor that now everyone kind of expects him to drill these 50-yard plus field goals and just walk away with an easy win in that sense?
I wouldn't say that. We trust him if we are in that position, but we try to put him in the best opportunity possible, especially I hold myself, to a high standard when it comes to that. And that intentional grounding was, I had no idea why I get it, I guess. I mean, that wasn't necessarily abrupt. Like, I don't think it was that aggressive that I didn't throw it, to anybody. But at the same time, I do understand it is what it is. Still got the win. I thought Rob did a great job on the punt return, just getting us something, and then me and Dare just finding a play to get 4 or 5 yards and then bang a timeout. I thought that was huge, man. So it's not all about, one thing about me, I don't try to ride the roller coaster. I know everybody was coming to me trying to juice me up, but honestly, I just try to stay calm, know that I made a mistake. But it doesn't make me. I thought I played really solid other than those 2 plays, but when you got guys to lean on, like we talked about earlier in the week, just playing complimentary football, Kaimi had my back. The defense had my back. My O-line had my back. Everybody had everybody's back. We had the defense back in the first half. We all play complimentary football. A lot of great things are going to happen for this team.
Go ahead. You had no Nico in the second half. This might be a bit of a simple question, but what exactly does this offense lose when he then exits the game?
Man, I think he's the best receiver in football, So, when he gets out the game, it definitely is tough on us, and a lot of things are, predicated towards him and planned for him, and I definitely do think we still have a lot of other guys to step up too. So I thought they did a good job doing that. I thought Hutch played solid, and really, I mean, you got to just find a way to win. We did that today, so definitely hope Nico's okay, and just we can get him back as soon as possible. But I definitely know that we have a lot of depth in that room.
A couple more. Hey, CJ, how does winning games like this today, games where you guys didn't necessarily play your best in the second half, but still point out, how does that help you guys going forward too?
Man, there's a ton of things I always learn from, and I always say, man, winning the NFL is not easy. So, of course, you're not looking at yourself like, dang, we were perfect. Clearly, we're not. But I mean, that's every week. There's always things you can clean up. Some things are more abrupt and more noticeable than others. But I feel like when you can find a way to find a win, man, that shows you how much of a resilient team you are. So, man, you learn with a dub, and that's the best thing that you can do. So, man, I'm super just proud of my guys for just keep fighting, and just keep working, keep grinding, keep chopping wood, keep carrying water, because it's not easy to play great 4 quarters of football. But the more we can do that, I think everybody can tell, man, we're going to be a force to reckon with.
Hey, can you talk about Dare today? I mean, he made plays when you guys really needed him, all kinds of ways, whether it was catching the ball, throwing some blocks, running. Can you talk about him today?
Man, once again, Dare playing great. Me and him have a great connection back there. There's times where, he's not supposed to really get the ball, but, he just shows up. And, I thought it was a very great heads-up play to get the first down, get down, make him burn a timeout. And I mean, I don't think they had any timeouts at that point, and the clock just kept rolling. So I thought it was super cool just to get him going once again. And, I think he's going to be a great addition to this team. I mean, he's been great since last year, kicking field goals. He's really all appliance. He does everything you ask him to do and does it with a smile on his face. So, man, and he's a brother, somebody I'm really close to. I love him to death, a great guy. You got a baby on the way. I can just go on about Dare. I love Dare. So, playing big for us right now.
You talked about having things to learn from this game, and you also talked about having your back. What was the biggest lesson or biggest takeaway that you learned from this game, and how important was the performance of Kaimi Fairbairn to this win?
I mean, looking back, I got to watch the tape. I thought I played really good, took the completions, took my shots when they were there. I think you can always go back and be like, I want these 3 plays back, these 4 plays back, but I look at, myself in the mirror and know, like, man, I'm still that guy. Like, I'm still confident no matter what mistake I make. I'm still humble, learning from my mistakes. But, even in those moments, man, like, I'm still trying to, just uplift myself. So I would say that's what I kind of learned today was, like, man, no matter what, man, just trust yourself. And I felt like I did that, moving the ball up and down the field against a good defense. 43 made a heck of a play on that kind of okey doke. He played both. And I mean, he was making plays before he got hurt. So, that was a great Bills defense. I thought McDermott changed up the calls in the second half a lot. But then you talk about Kaimi. I mean, he had my back, just like I have his back. Everybody has each other's back on this team. We all, this is one of the closest teams I've ever been on. So I definitely think that has to do with just getting the close dubs and having each other's back when it comes to that.
To follow up on an earlier question, dating back to last year, it feels like every time you have the ball last in these type of close games, you find a way to get the dub. What leads you to always being able to come through in those close moments?
Honestly, I would say just my teammates, like, honestly, I can sit up here and be like, well, I was seeing this coverage, and I can go through that, and that has some truth to it as well, like just trying to pick the defense apart. But honestly, like, just my teammates, keep chopping wood, keep carrying water, because it's hard to play 4 quarters of solid football in the NFL. When you do, you usually blow the team out, but that's why it's NFL, best players in the world battling against each other. So when you just have a resilient squad. I mean, it's just, like, for me, if I get the ball last, I'm really trying to ice the game, like trying to put it to bed. And I thought I got it done, and then got the intentional ground, and that killed me. I was so upset. But learn from that, and when you learn from a win, man, that's huge. So honestly, man, I just, I don't think they call me Cool Breeze as a kid for a reason. I just try to stay cool, calm, collected. I pray a lot. That's huge for me. Is just like when the intentional grounding happened and we backed him up, that was a huge punt by Tommy. I'm like, man, God, just give me another opportunity. And man, he gave me the opportunity, and I, try to do what I could with it. So, but it's not just me out there; it's my whole team. You know what I mean? So definitely just blessed to, be 4-1 at this point. Just got to keep rolling. All right, y'all.
And there is Mr. Cool Breeze, C.J. Stroud. And yes, as we thought, C.J. Stroud was very upset about the intentional grounding, which in some ways was almost like a turnover. And then obviously, I think it goes back to what D'Amico said. How C.J. Stroud is, how calm he is, it paid off because he was able to improvise when it counted the most. And that is why, again, he has a big smile and we're talking about this win.
Composure. He never loses his composure. And yes, talking about the win, now the Texans have the second best. It's ugly, right? I got doctor's writing. It's right here. Second best 5-game start in franchise history. They're 4-1.
Yep.
Their best 5-game start was back in 2012 when they started 5-0.
All right. Excellent. So while Luis is cleaning his board, let's quickly do what we always do, but we're now doing it a lot later than we normally do it.
Okay.
That is one word to describe this win. So everybody on Facebook,
no cheating.
everybody on Facebook, give us a word, and we'll start seeing how we vote here.
Yeah.
What's the word? Is that a word?
It counts as one, right? There's a hyphen in there, so it counts as one. Half full.
I'm going to go with last week's word, fortunate. This team was fortunate to win, but again, there are no easy games in the NFL. Ricky, I think I can say this one. Lucky. Come on, there it is. Lucky. Waiting to see if we're getting any other words in here. But that's okay. That's okay to be fortunate. That's okay to be lucky because...
But there's always luck in sports.
Yes.
And you need it. The ball has to bounce your way at some point, right? So, and if I can go into mine why I say half full, I think it's because, well, first half was good, second half not. It leaves me wanting more. And yes, it's hard. CJ said it, right? It's hard to play 4 perfect or clean quarters
you're not going
in the NFL. You're not going to. That's when you blow out teams. It's a hard league to win in, right? But this game probably doesn't end the way it ended, if that third quarter doesn't happen, where you keep shooting yourself in the foot, where you get 6
Yep.
penalties and you
Yep.
keep moving back, and then you let the Bills score 2 touchdowns in that same quarter, and then they close the gap. If maybe that doesn't happen, it's a different story.
Yeah, and that's why the 72 Dolphins are the 72 Dolphins, undefeated. No one's perfect. Do we have any other words in here? Not yet. But I thought it was interesting. CJ, the cool breeze, that was new. I don't think we've heard that from CJ before.
No, we did not. And also, he did say, look, I think two guys said it. It's better to win with a dub, or learn with a dub, right? Yes, it is better to learn with a dub. And you're always going to learn from every game, right? But, I don't know. I just keep going back to the same thing. You want to win in a more
convincing,
cool breeze way.
Cool breeze?
Where you're not having to win it with 2 seconds on the clock, where you're not having to come, make a drive with 16 seconds left in the game and have to score a 59-yard field goal. They keep finding ways to win. Yes, kudos for that. And that's the type of wins you're going to have to get at some point, and they have already twice this season. And it's probably the type of win you're going to have to get in the playoffs. But it's also the type of game or performance that could cost you. Mm-hmm. It happened last year against the Ravens in the playoffs. They didn't play very well in that first half, or second half it was actually, and then they end up getting bounced.
One word from Frankie. He says defense. And then Michael weighs in, Josh Allen, 9 of 30. Yeah, I wouldn't call that lucky. Great job defense. I would agree with you on that. We talked about that earlier. Yeah. This is just so Josh Allen last year in a blowout win over the Cowboys had fewer than 10 pass completions.
7.
And then there was another game, I think.
2019.
Where he didn't play the entire game. He sat after a few series.
Right.
And then you have to go back to his rookie season for Josh Allen to find a game where he had less than 10 pass completions. So, yes, I agree. Defense was big and they didn't fill the stat sheet in a traditional way, but I think they did just enough, obviously, to get the win. Anytime you hold a team to 20 points or less in the NFL, it's a win.
Yeah, for sure. I think that goes back to what we talked about earlier. Those small plays that don't show up on the box score, right? But, I mean, remember last week with that late push, to stop them, 1 yard out from scoring a touchdown, and that was a big play. Then it leads to that goal line stand. Same thing today. I think that Derek Stingley stop in the fourth quarter to begin the fourth quarter. It was a big one. Now you force the Bills to punt and you take over again. They could have scored, and then at that point, they would have taken the lead.
Yeah, and the Bills in that second half had momentum. So, well, that's going to do it. Houston Texans improved to 4-1, now 3-0 at home with a 23-20 win at NRG over the Buffalo Bills. For Luis Ortiz, I'm Jason Bristol. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time here as we wrap up another Texans win. Have a great day, everybody.